Before mortals learned to name the stars, before thunder had a voice, the gods watched from their high thrones, restless, proud, and weary of silence. Among them sat Zeus, the ruler of storms, whose heart still burned with the hunger of creation. But fate, unseen and patient, had already written its secret in the folds of heaven. A prophecy whispered among the fates spoke of a mortal child, a son born of lightning and flesh, who would carry both the strength of gods and the suffering of men. And when that child would rise, even Olympus would tremble. On a night of fractured clouds, Zeus descended to the world below, his form wrapped in the soft disguise of starlight. There, in the quiet city of Thebes, he found Alcmene, a woman whose beauty did not burn, but glowed, like the last flame that refuses to die. And from that divine spark, beneath the hush of mortal breath, a heartbeat began, one that would echo across eternity. When Heracles was born, the sky shuddered with thunder. The moon hid her face, and in the halls of Olympus, Hera, the queen of heaven, felt her crown grow cold. Her jealousy was not the fury of storms, but the ache of a heart betrayed by love and fate alike. And so she vowed that the child of Zeus would never know peace. She sent serpents to his cradle, twin shadows slithering through moonlight. But when they drew near, the infant stirred, not with fear, but with strength born of stormlight itself. Tiny hands reached out, and where any child should have cried, Heracles laughed. The snakes writhed once and lay still. That night the heavens knew the prophecy had begun to breathe. The years unfolded like scrolls of light and sorrow. Heracles grew in both body and legend, the mortal who bore divine thunder in his veins. His strength became the talk of kings, his kindness the solace of the humble. But Hera's eyes never turned away. One night, as the moon crowned the hills in silver flame, she descended upon him in disguise, whispering madness into his dreams. When dawn came, the world was crimson. For in that hour, even the mightiest heart had broken under a god's curse. And when Heracles awoke, the laughter of the fates echoed through his shattered soul. The oracle spoke, "To wash the blood from your hands, you must walk the road of impossible deeds. 12 labors shall bind your name to redemption or to ruin." And so began the long song of sorrow and strength. The oracle's words echoed through the marble halls of Thebes. "To wash the blood from your hands, you must walk the road of impossible deeds. 12 labors shall bind your name to redemption or to ruin." Heracles listened, heart pounding like a storm. The weight of destiny settled on his shoulders, yet in that burden he felt the first spark of purpose. The path was clear, though treacherous, and the world itself seemed to hold its breath as he took the first step. First labor, Nemean lion. The Nemean lion, a beast of golden fur and eyes like molten suns, roared beneath a sky streaked with lightning. Heracles approached, heart steady, hands ready. The lion lunged, teeth like jagged mountains, but the hero met it with a strength born of stormlight. They wrestled, muscle against muscle, breath against breath, until the forest itself held its breath. When the dust settled, the lion lay subdued, and its impenetrable pelt draped across Heracles' shoulders, a crown of mortal triumph. Second labor, Lernaean Hydra. In the misted marsh, the Hydra's many heads writhed and hissed, each one striking like thunder. Fire in hand, Heracles struck, and as each head fell, two more rose in defiance. He learned the rhythm of destruction and creation, of poison and flame. Finally, with cunning and fire, he silenced the last head. Smoke rose to Olympus like dark incense, and the swamp fell into a trembling, victorious silence. Third labor, Cerenian stag. A stag of golden antlers leapt across dew-kissed meadows faster than the wind. Heracles followed, silent as shadow, until he matched its stride. In that fleeting chase, he touched the pulse of nature itself. With gentle hands, he captured the radiant creature, leaving it unharmed, a triumph of patience and respect. Fourth labor, Erymanthian boar. Through rugged mountains and misted valleys, a monstrous boar charged with fury. Rocks cracked beneath its hooves, trees bent under its might. Heracles pursued with both skill and courage, trapping the beast without breaking it. The mountains exhaled in relief as the hero's triumph tamed the wild storm of fur and tusk. Fifth labor, Argean stables. The stables of Argeus had not known cleanliness in decades. Rivers of filth, thick and fetid, mocked the hero. But Heracles, with mind and muscle, rerouted streams and cleared the stalls in a single day. The scent of victory was the scent of rebirth, and even the walls seemed to shine under the cleansing waters. Sixth labor, Stymphalian birds. The skies darkened with flocks of razor-winged birds, their cries sharp as shattered glass. Heracles lifted his bronze castanets, the sound echoing like thunder through the marshes. The birds scattered, pierced by arrows and fear, and the land exhaled a song of quiet safety.
Seventh labor, Cretan bull. A bull, wild as volcanic fury, trampled fields and shook the earth. Heracles met it with a gaze as steady as the mountain. He wrestled the beast, feeling its raw power course through him, and finally subdued it, turning chaos into controlled strength. Eighth labor, mares of Diomedes. Man-eating mares, fire in their eyes, galloped with fury. Heracles tamed them with courage and cunning, leading them away from terror. And in their submission, the land exhaled, freed from violent hunger. Ninth labor, belt of Hippolyta. Hippolyta, queen of the Amazons, bore a belt of power and grace. Heracles approached with respect, not war. Words and honor prevailed over battle, and she willingly gave him the belt, a triumph of diplomacy and wisdom. Tenth labor, cattle of Geryon. Across the burning plains, Geryon's red cattle roamed. Heracles faced the three-bodied guardian and the scorching sun alike. With arrows and courage, he overcame the impossible, guiding the herd across the world, a journey of relentless determination. 11th labor, golden apples of Hesperides. The orchard glittered, guarded by nymphs and serpents. Heracles, seeking the forbidden fruit, moved with patience and cunning, earning the apples not by force alone, but by understanding and respect for what was sacred. 12th labor, Cerberus. At the gates of the underworld, the three-headed geist growled, its eyes burning with ancient fire. Heracles descended with calm courage, wrestling Cerberus into submission, not through cruelty, but mastery, and brought him to the light above, a bridge between life and death, shadow and heroism. The 12 labors lay behind him, each a mountain climbed, a shadow faced, a fear conquered. Heracles stood upon the threshold of destiny fulfilled. His heart, tempered in fire and sorrow, beat with a quiet pride. The world itself seemed to acknowledge his journey. Rivers hummed in gratitude, winds whispered his name, and the heavens shone softer, touched by the echo of a hero who had walked through shadow and emerged into light.
But even heroes bleed. Each labor had carved upon his heart a quiet scar, the kind the world does not see, but heaven remembers. And when the last task was done, when the Hydra was slain, the stables cleansed, and the golden apples gleamed in his hands like stolen suns, Heracles stood upon the edge of silence and wondered if redemption ever truly ends. For the gods had grown quiet. Even Hera's fury had thinned into something colder, a silence that haunted rather than hurt. And yet peace did not come. For when the hands of men began to sing his name as a god, fate began to stir again, the fates who never forget their own threads. They whispered of one last test, not of sinew, but of soul.
In those days, Heracles found love once more. Deianira, a mortal woman with eyes like a dawn that refused to fade. Her laughter softened even his storm-worn heart. He believed, at last, the gods had forgiven him. But Hera's shadow still lingered. Through mortal jealousy and divine deceit, a poisoned gift found its way into his home. A robe soaked in the blood of a dying centaur, whispered to be a charm of devotion. And Heracles, unknowing, wrapped himself in it. The cloth clung to his skin like fire hungry for wind. It burned not with heat, but with the venom of betrayal, a pain that no mortal nor god could bear. Mount Oeta trembled beneath his cries. The sky dimmed, even the sun hid behind clouds as if mourning. And yet, in his agony, Heracles refused to spare. He commanded a pyre to be built, a monument of flame where his mortal shell would end and his spirit might rise unchained. No tears fell from his eyes, only resolve. For the hero who had wrestled beasts now wrestled destiny itself. The fire roared. Its light kissed the heavens, and through the smoke even Olympus turned its gaze. Hera stood silent beside Zeus, and in that flickering glow she saw not the rival she once hated, but the son who had suffered for the sins of gods and men alike. Zeus rose from his throne, and the thunder softened, as if the storm itself bowed in reverence. When the flames died, no ashes remained, only a golden silence and a whisper that spoke not of death, but of becoming. Heracles, the mortal son of thunder, had ascended beyond pain, beyond fate. He was lifted to the stars, to dwell among the constellations, a promise
carved in light. There the gods placed a crown upon his head, and even Hera's hand did not tremble as she spoke, "You have earned not forgiveness, but honor." And from that day, the thunder bore his name with pride. They say, when the storms break the silence of night, you can still hear his breath between the lightning, the sound of a man who rose from blood and ruin to touch eternity. And somewhere in the fields where lions once roared and rivers once raged, his shadow still lingers, not as fear, but as faith. Because Heracles was never just a man, nor merely a god, but the echo of every heart that dared to defy despair. And when the echoes of his deeds faded into the stars, the name of Heracles still burned, bright, eternal, unforgotten. Legends may sleep, but heroes never die. If this tale moved your spirit, like, share, and subscribe for more stories where myth still breathes.